Boys Town Building Families is provided in part to the Nebraska ETV network by over 30,000 contributing members of Nebraskans for Public Television.
I've always believed that no boy wanted to be bad. No boy needed reforming if only adult society gave him half a chance. I am proud that thousands of these boys have already been given a new start in Boys Town, and that not one of them has ever disproved the belief that is closest to my heart, that there is no such thing as a bad boy.
That was the voice of Father Flanagan, founder of Boys Town, Nebraska. Father Flanagan was an innovator in the field of child care. He was the lifeline to many of America's needy and homeless boys. Today, many of the boys and girls of Boys Town are working on problems unheard of in Flanagan's day. Today, youth problems affect every social and economic class in America. Here in my hometown of Los Angeles, the problems facing families are overwhelming. I often speak to groups of teens, encouraging them to stay in school and stay off drugs. Because our kids need support and guidance to cope with the dangerous pressures that surround them, our kids need help. And from the heart of America, Boys Town has been that helping hand to many of the nation's troubled children over the years. In 1917, America launched into war, and little attention was placed on problems facing the boys at home, especially homeless boys. But a young Irish immigrant priest, Father Edward J. Flanagan, declared a personal war, a war against afflictions of America's abandoned and neglected children. Father Flanagan opened the door of a small house in Omaha, Nebraska, to 5 boys whom he agreed to accept from the Juvenile Probation Office. Over the years, the numbers of boys seeking help grew. In the early 20s, a national awareness began, and boys from across America found their way to Father Flanagan's Boys Home. After years of modest expansion, in 1921, Father and the boys moved to a 160-acre farm west of Omaha called Overlook. Here was a new beginning, a perfect place for Boys Town's growth. Through the 20s and much of the 30s, Boys Town developed. The boys became more like citizens of a town rather than residents of a home. They elected their own government, complete with mayor, council, and commissioner. It was a real village of little men. They were guided by a man who would touch their lives forever.
Are you Father Flanagan?
Yes, my boy.
Father, I'm Johnny Walt. We come from Chicago. We ain't got a home or nobody. Will you take us? Can we come in?
Let us sit down.
Because I remember sitting behind and looking across this big desk. To me, it was big because I was little at that in those days. And I wasn't really paying attention to Father. He was talking to me, dear this and dear that, and I just wasn't. I was just looking the room over, casing the joint, you know, looking at what can I steal, what can I do this, and so on. And the guy was talking to me, and then he realized that he wasn't coming through, that he wasn't making any mark with me. So he said, Joseph, come over here, dear. And I said, here it comes. He's going to hit me. I know he's going to hit me. And when he does, I'm going to duck, and I'm running. I'm leaving this place. So I walked around the desk and came around, and I'm ready to, you know, I know he's going to hit me, and I'm ready to duck and run. So he opens up this drawer, and in the drawer is candy, Hard Rock candy, the Christmas candy. I looked at the can, and I looked at him. I said, wait a minute. The guy's supposed to hit me so I can run, and he did, and he gave me candy. So that's how he got my attention. I sat down, and I took the candy, and I was eating, and then he started talking to me. Father Flanagan was a tremendous individual, one of a kind, definitely one of a kind. And there's many of us that have a lot to be thankful for that individual.
Father Flanagan tried to move heaven and earth in an effort to help his kids. The struggle was aggravated by the national economy collapse during the Great Depression. With the shortage of funds and more boys in need, Flanagan found new ways to keep Boys Town's mission in the public eye.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Boys Town. Direct from Father Flanagan's Boys' Home, just 11 miles west of Omaha, Nebraska, we bring you the first in a new series of programs featuring the boys who make up this thriving little metropolis. We will be riding high.
Radio and newsprint helped generate public interest for Father Flanagan's Boys, but it wasn't until 1938 that Boys Town captured the attention and hearts of the nation. Boys Town was an enormous box office smash, and suddenly the village of Boys Town and Father Flanagan became internationally famous. Father Flanagan was now a recognized leader of boys training throughout the world. After World War II, at the request of the U.S. government, Father traveled throughout Japan and Europe to share his child care experience. In 1948, on one of his trips to Europe, Father Flanagan died. Boys Town didn't die along with its founder. Father Flanagan's dream lives on. Generations of changing faces and new facilities have altered Father Flanagan's Boys' Home. But many still remember Boys Town as it was portrayed by Hollywood.
I'm gonna try to make, I'm gonna try to help to make, I'm gonna try to help to keep Boys Town the kind of place that, oh, what a guy you picked to be mayor.
There is no bad boy.
Mickey Rooney returned home to Boys Town to help celebrate the golden anniversary of the film. Now, decades after having been chosen mayor on the screen, Mickey is greeted by Corey Randall, the real mayor of Boys Town.
Is the mayor here? Mr. Mayor, come on down.
The mayor's going to speak, everybody.
Okay, as President Mayor of Boys Town, I would like to welcome back our most famous mayor and longtime friend, Mr. Mickey Rooney. Mr. Rooney, we're proud to have you back. And on behalf of all the Boys Town staff and students, past and present, I would like to welcome you home and say thank you for your contributions to our home. And I'd like to say that a lot of things have changed since you last were here in 1938. But thanks.
Back then, the kids practically ran the home, and it was, and they had a lot more responsibility. But well, I wouldn't say a lot more responsibility. They had different responsibilities. Now my responsibility is to make sure that, you know, that I'm being a role model for the kids, and I'm showing them through example the way the kids at Boys Town should act. Back then, the kids made up a lot of the rules. Well, the rules are set for us, and my job is to make sure that, that the kids are following the rules, or to help them follow the rules.
Including its founder, Father Flanagan, Boys Town has had 4 directors. Since 1985, that position has been held by Father Val J. Peter. Father Peter holds 2 doctorates and has over 25 years' experience as a teacher and youth worker.
My job is a simple one. I'm the one who brings the fire and the passion to the great place that's called Boys Town. I'm just a successor of Father Flanagan in the sense that I'm a caretaker of his dreams. Nobody's going to take Father Flanagan's place, but somebody's got to bring his fire into this organization. That's what I do. That's my job. Ryan! Boys Town today is not just a caring place. We're a healing place. The kids who come to us today are different. The child looks perfect until you look inside, and then there's a lot of beating that's going on, a lot of violence. Very troubled children.
I felt Angry. I felt trapped. That's the main feeling. I thought, here I go into another home, it's not going to work. And I just wanted to just be left alone. I wanted to go to a room and stay. Didn't want to talk to anybody or anything, just wanted to be by myself. That no matter how much people tried to get to me, I wouldn't let them.
Boys Town takes youngsters who have committed crimes, what would be considered a crime if done by an adult. They also take children who cannot get along in their own homes or in their own school setting. Either they're truant from school, truant from home, disobedient to parents, and ungovernable type children. They take some neglect and abuse children, but of course they would be children probably 10 years of age and up that may have been abused children, neglected children, and have some other emotional problems relating to that. So they take a wide variety of boys and girls.
In essence, these kids are not a lot different than our own families, and their families are not a lot different from our families. But they have some issues and some problems that have brought them to the attention of the court system, either because of an action on the part of their parents or because of an action on their part that may be in reaction to their own family experience. And they are attempting to deal with those issues.
Our children that come to us are bleeding. They've been hurt badly. And the trouble with kids who've been hurt badly, to be honest, is this. If you've been hurt that badly, you don't trust adults anymore. Let me give you an example. Here's a boy whose mom died when he was 4. And nobody knows where his dad is. And a very loving couple adopted him when he was 4. And when he was 6 years old, they took him back to the adoption agency. And you know what they said? We don't like raising kids. We just decided that you can have this one back. Since then, he has been in 3 foster homes. And in one of those homes, he was very badly beaten. Each one of those homes he was in, every one of those adults said to him, Johnny, we really love you. We're going to stick in. We're going to hang in with you. How many really loved him and hung in with him? None. If you were that boy, would you trust an adult? I wouldn't. And so when you come to Boys Town and you see this priest and he's dressed like this, and I say, Johnny, I don't say these words to kids when they come, but what if I said, Johnny, we're really going to love you? He wouldn't believe me, would he? There'd be no reason for him to believe us. So we have to work very slowly. By our behavior, we have to demonstrate that we care for him. He's going to limit test us. He's going to be as bad as he can, as soon as he can, to see if we will throw him out like everybody else has thrown him out. Those are the kids. They're quite different. They're very difficult to work with. And yet, you know, if you're successful with these kids, it's going to change not only their lives, it's going to change the future of America.
I was really kind of obnoxious. I didn't want to listen to anybody, and I didn't think anyone had the answers to any problems that I had. And since I've come here, I found out that someone does have an answer for me. I thought I knew everything, and no one could tell me anything. Well, I quickly found out that that somebody could always tell you something about yourself. And I didn't know myself as well as I thought I did.
My problem was I didn't want to be home with my parents because things weren't working out. And so they decided, and I decided, and the judge helped. We decided that Boys Town would be a good place for me. And so, you know, they wrote to Boys Town wrote back, and they had pictures and things of Boys Town, you know, how things were going to work out and everything. And they drove me up here after we decided, you know, during the summertime, they drove up here with me, and we visited. We stayed here like for a weekend, and we visited during Saturday and Sunday, and then they brought me here Monday, and they dropped me off.
Tanika and Dean, do you wish to become citizens of Boys Town?
A number of kids come to Boys Town by voluntary placement. Their families are in desperate need of help. Boys Town believes it can help through spiritual guidance.
We're very big on religion. We believe that religion has an immensely important role, but we do not believe in proselytism. If a boy comes to us and he's a Methodist, I'm going to make him a better Methodist if I can. If he's Baptist, I'm going to make him better Baptist. If he's Jewish or Baha'i or whatever it is, I'm going to help him with that. We truly believe that if we do not do this, we will violate the consciences of our children. Father Flanagan did this from the start. It's a very interesting thing. He said he wanted to appeal to the American people, not just one part of the American people, but all of them. Catholics, Protestants, Jewish folks, everybody. And so our Board of Trustees, there are 15 men and women on our Board of Trustees. It's not a Catholic board. Probably the easiest way to say that is the way Father Flanagan said it. He said, every boy must learn to pray. How he prays is up to him.
In the early years, the boys lived in large, overcrowded dormitories. It was Father Flanagan's vision that someday the children would be housed in smaller cottages that would resemble a family environment. Today, boys and girls are housed separately in groups of 6 to 10 with a professional family team called family teachers.
Their full-time job is teaching family living skills to these kids. So why are we successful with our family homes? Because we train the couples in skills. These aren't some graduate courses in child development about theories. They're what do you do with the child? What do you do with the child who just came out of chemical treatment? What do you do with the child who runs away? What do you do with the child who wants to hurt himself? Those are all skill-based answers to those questions. The only way these kids are going to get better is if you have the professionals that we have that work with them.
We stress when they come in that we're a family, that everybody has to work together. When they first come in, is that we're a family, we work together, everybody offers, you know, their hand in cleaning, in putting away groceries, everybody has to. If you're going to live here and you're going to eat the food and you're going to be a part of the family, then you have to also do the stuff, the work.
We teach the family aspect of life to the guys, and it's something that a lot of them really never have understood. And to be a member of a family, to have ones there that you know are always there makes a big difference. And it's so much nicer to be a family than it is an institution. And to me, it makes all the difference.
And it makes a difference to them, too. It's 500 positive points at school today. You did a real good job of following your teacher's instructions with just one negative. The boys are on a point card. They get positive points for positive behaviors and negative points for negative behaviors. And depending on, there are 2 systems, daily and weekly. They come in on the daily system. It's a more structured system. They get more immediate reinforcement.
Immediate reinforcement from the daily systems.
They have to make 10,000 positive points a day to make their privileges. And when we say privileges, we mean to eat snacks, to watch TV, to use the telephone.
Free time around the house.
Free time around the house. That's what that 10,000 points buys them.
This kid was having a problem and doing that stuff doesn't excuse your behavior, you know, in class today, right?
Right.
Okay, good. You're doing a nice job. But the standard fine for an officer referral is $50,000. So you need to get that down on your card, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you're doing a real nice job accepting that big point fine. That's a big fine, and you're doing real well. So.
Thank
you. Okay. Let's talk a minute now, Marcel, about what you should have done with the teacher. What do you think the best thing would have been to do rather than scream out what you did and go out the door? What do you think you should have done?
I guess I should just thought more before I did what I did. Accepted the feedback that she gave me.
Okay.
Just accepted it until the end of class, and then I could have talked it over with her after class.
Good. That's right. Very good. Give yourself 5,000 positive points for rational problem solving. Mark that as
We have 8 adolescent teenage boys that are growing, and so you run through all the problems that all teenage kids have, and it's like we try to make it like any other family that we have. We're not isolated from anything, and so we have the same problems that everyone else does, only we have the motivation system, which makes the difference.
Do it, but jump earlier.
Who's winning?
Me.
I think Boys Town's strength is the 24-hour parenting. That family teacher couple is there for that kid all of the time and is concerned about that youngster, is concerned as if he were or she were the biological parent. And that's what it takes. Because these kids are troubled. They've got problems. And some of those problems have been festering 5, 10, 12 years. And it's not going to be magic. It's going to be all cleared up in 15 months. Sometimes it doesn't get cleared up. Boys Town doesn't have 100% success rate. This court doesn't have 100% success rate. There isn't a parent in the world that can say, I have 100% success rate, if they're really truthful.
Sometimes you get too attached. Sometimes you don't get enough attached. We don't get to spend near as enough time with our own children that we'd like to, which is very hard sometimes. We're being pulled in well, we have 8 boys and 3 of our own children, so we're being pulled in 11 different directions sometimes all at once. And that's real hard.
When I was at home, I never really got to talk like that with my parents because every time I had trouble in school and I tried to talk to them, they would get mad and they wouldn't try to talk, you know. And here, you know, the reason we're here is to get help and everybody's willing to help each other. So I really like being, you know, in a family like this. And the guys, you know, they're always willing to help you out too.
Had big problems back home, and I've come a long way since I've been here, being able to accept authority figures better. Still working on it, but I haven't been doing certain things I'd done at home that got me in trouble, got me placed here at Boys Town.
But now I know what I need to do and everything, and I feel more mature because I feel I'm making the better decisions now than when I first came here. I didn't know what was right or wrong. That's what they were trying to teach me, you know. Now that I know everything, I know what is right or wrong, I feel a lot better because they're helping me make my own decisions, and I'm helping myself because I know when the decisions are right and wrong.
We can express things with each other without holding things in, and I like that because back home I really couldn't share my deep feelings with some of my relatives even. And when I came here, I saw that they care by experiencing and talking things out with them. It really helps.
So far, the most rewarding thing for me is to see the guys that succeed come back and say thank you. We have a few that I know, you know, because of what Boys Town, what we have given them, it's changed their lives. And that's the most rewarding thing for me, for them to say, this has really made a difference.
When that youngster is in the courtroom and the court is about to tell the youngster, you are going to Boys Town. This is the placement that the court finds in your best interest. That youngster doesn't want to go. He's got it made out there. He's got 2 frustrated parents. He knows he's got them fooled. He knows he's got them to the limit, and he's having a merry old time with it. You send the youngster out with that Boys Town family teaching couple, and you bring this child back in 6 months. You will not know the child. When he left here, his hair was a mess, he was a mess, his clothes were as disheveled as his self-esteem was. He comes back in, he looks like $1 million, or she looks like $1 million. They know how to dress, they know how to groom themselves, they know how to speak with you, they're not snarling anymore, they don't interrupt. All of these social graces, if nothing else, they have learned these social graces and how to get along with the rest of the world.
Father Flanagan had a philosophy. He believed that many of our youth, the boys then, came to him with 2 strikes against them. He wanted to give them the assurance that when they left his care, the care of Boys Town, they would have 2 strikes in their favor. And so, amongst our high school population, we feel it's very important that those students, even if they have plans for post-secondary education, that they receive some sort of vocational training. Who's to say that their lives might not be disrupted again? And then they can conveniently fall back into a job that they've received specific preparation for. It would help them. once again overcome that tragic situation when we can't be there necessarily to help them. Students have an opportunity to explore the world of work and explore themselves through a series of testing, aptitude and interest tests. We also like to develop at that time for each and every one of our youth an individualized career plan so that all of our students have some real direction to their future.
At the age of adolescence, many of Boys Town's youth have already suffered from a lack of success in their lives. They arrive at Boys Town turned off to school and teachers. At the Career Center, advisors tailor a training program for each student. The goal is to learn the struggle of achieving success.
We like to tell all of our students, let's start here, which is the base, and then you can work your way through. Just like you're doing in our programs now, you'll have that opportunity in life, time and time again, to reevaluate and to assess, and then to go on and to reorient yourself with a new career field and to do some specific preparation for that new career goal. So we teach a process.
In addition to vocational and educational training, a big emphasis is placed on work ethics. At the town farm, the instructors face a sizable challenge. They try to turn indifference and poor self-discipline into positive work habits that will serve the kids well, whatever their future career decisions.
There's two things we're trying to accomplish this summer, okay? Number one is this, for a lot of you, is your first job. We're trying to teach you job skills so that when you leave here in your next job, you're confident with your job skills and you can do better quality work. That's the important thing. First, you need to learn how to act on a job site. Secondly is that you need to learn how to do the job. We're trying to teach you both those things this summer, okay? All right, now, does everyone know who their supervisor is?
The farm has grown steadily over the years. Production agriculture has always been something that Boys Town has tried to teach the youth. However, recently we have taken the technology from the Boys Town treatment program and we're utilizing that in our farm program. So our youth are not only learning job skills, not only about agriculture, but our staff is trained to help change negative behavior in the youth.
Here's Sasha.
Our youth will learn several things. I think one of the biggest benefits that they'll receive is they will learn a good work ethic. They'll learn job responsibility, just responsibility in general. They're going to learn how to take care of something that is dependent on them, and that teaching them responsibility. They will learn agricultural skills, and if they would like to pursue an agricultural career eventually, we can channel them in that direction.
Been working at Boys Town Horse Farm for over a year now. Started working last summer. This is my 4-H horse. We run a lot of different awards and stuff. 4-H things we go to off campus and stuff like that. She's kind of old. She's 23 right now, but she still does good. She got me a couple of purples and stuff.
These are the animals that the kids will be showing. I supervise up here on the farm. I've been working up here all summer. And today we're just working all around on getting the cattle and the sheep ready to show. To show an animal, it takes at least a couple hours every day, probably a month before the show, just to get the livestock to where the kid to where they can lead them around without the lamb or the cattle fighting them. So it takes quite a while. And the kids really are ready to put in the time to do the best they can at the shows.
A big portion of our youth employment training is that they go through the interviewing process. They learn how to become employed on a job, how to communicate with the supervisor on the job, how to learn skills and apply those skills on a job. And hopefully, when we're all done, or they're all done with their working in our job training program, that they'll be able to go off campus and become employed and stay employed.
You take a look around here and you say, this is a beautiful place. Beauty is a silent teacher. We believe if you surround a child with beauty, goodness, love, if you give them the proper environment, that's the first step towards a better world. I'm glad that kids who've been so abandoned, so beaten up, so abused, I'm glad that kids like that live in such a beautiful place. I'd say it another way. There are too many people who are sitting around looking at and contemplating their navel, their troubles. I think all you got to do is look around here, and there's a lot of beauty out here, isn't there? If you look at the beauty out here, maybe you'll begin to see that there's a little beauty inside here too, instead of all the troubles. I want to make it as beautiful as I can so that you come and you say, I'm inspired. This is something nice. I'd like to live here.
Boys Town remains a genuine village isolated from the development of the city of Omaha. The town has 73 homes, its own school system, police department, fire station, post office. It's a sheltered small town family. The peaceful spirit of this village was shaken in the early 1970s. The Boys Town organization sustained a very critical examination when Sun Newspapers of Omaha gave the public a first-time ever look at Boys Town's finances. The report earned the paper a Pulitzer Prize, and Boys Town was compelled to take a close look at itself.
There was no corruption involved. This was simply a situation that we felt bordered on institutional arrogance, and we felt that Boys Town could and would do better if the story was told. While they were building a mountain of wealth, they were also losing kids. Their population had dwindled from 900 to 700. And at the same time, compounding wealth and losing population would make you wonder if everything was going the way it should out there. Immediately following the story was the committee's decision and the board's recommendation to begin spending, or pledging at least, some $70 million of their funds into new programs. This was the first such pledge or action in that area taken in 24 years.
I always like to think that in every family, some clouds come every once in a while. There's a storm. You can learn from the storm. In 1972, there were about 1,000 children being taken care of by Boys Town. Today, there are 12,000 children being taken care of by Boys Town. Since 1972, Boys Town has spent half of the purchasing power it had there. It's all gone. Where'd it go? To children, to new programs, to helping take care of kids. We learned from the storm that the most important thing you can do with your life is you can pick yourself up and you can care for children continually, day after day, more and more kids.
This awakening marked a turning point in Boys Town's child care philosophy. Now their work has grown far beyond the boundaries of the main campus. Expansion began in the mid-70s with the introduction of a National Hospital and Research Center, specializing in communication disorders in children. Located in Omaha, the Boys Town National Research Hospital has earned an international reputation for its work in the treatment of speech and hearing problems.
Boys Town's mission has always been to help youth in need of help. And not only are we helping a large number of children, I think we see over 6,000 children per year here for various treatments. We're assisting their families. Boys Town is a family-oriented organization.
Blocks. What will you do? What hat? With a doll? Can you go get it? Go get
A little blonde youngster, for example, started school when she was 2 months of age. Her parents were particularly astute. They noticed she wasn't hearing, and so they entered a parent-infant program where we supported the family in nurturing that child's communication at home. So she's already had 2.5, 3 years of exposure to sign language and really understands a great deal of the signs presented. That's true of all of the children here. Their parents are involved in an aggressive parent-infant program and sign language program so that we don't have to do all the work at school. At home, the children are seeing elaborate communication expressed via the hands, total communication, meaning that the parent will talk and sign all at the same time.
We started very young with Karen. She started coming up here when she was about 2 months old, and so we've just seen steady progress, and she has always been able to keep up with the hearing child's language level, and so we've been very fortunate that her education has just progressed as a normal hearing child's would.
We believe they are children first and deaf children second, children with an impairment second. So we try to treat them in a very natural, early childhood environment, but use specific techniques to enhance their communication abilities, which unfortunately is their greatest need.
Reacting to an overwhelming educational crisis in the inner city, Boys Town established Father Flanagan High School. This alternative school was designed specifically around the learning and social needs of high-risk students who live in a concentrated poverty area of Omaha. Like Boys Town, these students attend through the influence of parents, referrals from other schools, social agencies, or the legal system.
Father Flanagan had a real instinctive feel for students in trouble in his own time and took them and provided them with a home and with education. I think that if he were living today, he would recognize that it's not possible for the home campus to provide a 24-hour care for every student in the United States. And so there are many ways in which Boys Town can reach out and provide other kinds of care. And one of those is to provide this alternative school, which provides a kind of a home away from home for a lot of young students who are in who have very many difficulties.
As in most cities, parts of Omaha are characterized by negative social factors. Located in the heart of one of these areas, Flanagan High caters to the needs of high-risk students who otherwise might not get an education. The temptations of drugs and gangs overpower the value of an education for many of these kids. Flanagan High is a place of tranquil isolation. Here they feel far away from outside distractions and tensions.
Many of the students come from environments where they are not naturally in tune with the kinds of demands and styles of learning that have been traditional. And so a teacher sort of has to bring two worlds together. And a teacher knows that they have to do that. And so what it means in terms of a daily practice is a teacher has to do much more explaining than might be necessary someplace else. Teacher has to sort of set the stage for what happens, explain what's going to happen, give a kind of a preview of everything, what is expected, give lots of information. And very importantly, a teacher needs to connect what's happening here with all that world outside.
One of the things that Father Gilg always tells us to do is to wait a minute and to think before we act. And what you're saying, Felicia, is that Mr. Miyagi is saying through a spiritual guidance that we should control ourselves, that we should wait a minute, that we should think before we act. Are there any other connections between religion and Karate Kid that
And so a
can
conscious effort to make the connections between the classroom experience and the outside world.
We said to ourselves, there are kids who are in trouble all over the United States, not just here in the Middle West. So we have to develop this mission in such a way that we're going to expand all over the United States. Why? Because that's where the kids are in trouble. This campus will always be the flagship. This will always be the home. But we've got to be out there in Florida, in Texas, in California, in the East, wherever it is where the big troubles are.
In an effort to get closer to a growing national problem, Boys Town USA was founded. Boys Town USA is a smaller community-based version of the main campus. The USA project has homes built in San Antonio, Tallahassee, and 3 new homes in Orlando. In Central Florida, surrounded by beaches and citrus groves, sits one of the world's major tourist destinations, Orlando. Orlando is known around the world as America's fantasy land.
Y'all reach out with a rapper DJ on rapping mic. My name is, yeah, oh my dealers, ooh, I'm say juice.
But behind the make-believe and the bright eyes, many of Orlando's children are hurting. Orlando continues to be one of America's fastest-growing metropolitan areas. Rapid growth brings with it many unforeseen problems, problems affecting children.
I think one of the reasons we are a growth area of the country is because of places like Disney World, SeaWorld. It is a huge growth center right now, lots of industry, lots of business. People come here because of that reason. I think that reason adds to why there are so many children in need. It would be nice if people could, see what we see. But people come here to vacation. They don't come here to observe children in need.
Recently, the governor's office put out some population at risk figures as far as the projected growth over Central Florida. In our 4-county district, we're looking at close to 100,000 more children between the ages of 0 and 17. Obviously, that means we have more children at risk of coming to the department as being victims of abuse or neglect, or coming to us for delinquent acts. And obviously also, I think, considering what is happening within our communities and our society, we're having more children come to us who are emotionally disturbed and are in need of residential placement.
Florida, like many other states, has not yet found ways to fund the increasing needs of its young people.
It's 50th in the nation as far as the number of dollars poured into social service programs per capita. It's at the bottom of the rung of the ladder. It's also, according to information I have, 50th in the nation in the dropout rate. Those are statistics we're not very proud of, but those are the facts of life.
Boys Town, USA is located in a quiet neighborhood in suburban Orlando, in the small community of Oviedo.
Because we are growing so fast, and most of these areas started out so small, we're really behind in what you consider the social service areas. We're playing catch up in those areas, and to have a facility like Boys Town come in here with their organization already set up and ready to minister to these boys that need them has really been a great shot in the arm to that segment of our population.
Blue, set, hey!
Unlike the isolated surroundings of Boys Town, Nebraska, the USA campus is community-based. The youth must attend area public schools and become familiar with living in the community.
At first, the community was really not behind the project because they didn't know what having a Boys Town out there meant. They really didn't know. Most people had just maybe heard of Boys Town, and maybe a lot of them had never even heard of Boys Town.
I think their immediate concept is that they were going to be the stereotypical juvenile delinquent, and that they were going to cause trouble in the schools and the community that maybe we would not otherwise have, and of course that is not the case. Anytime you enhance a life positively, it's a positive effect to the community. Whether these are actually Oviedo boys or not, which I feel to the most part they're not, it will make productive society members out of boys that might otherwise not have been, and that's an added benefit to any community.
We could do some fishing. We could do some swimming.
Community-based living gives Boys Town, USA less of a sanctuary feel than Boys Town, Nebraska. But both programs are identical in their family approach to child care.
If I were to look at this as a program and say it's a program, that's an understatement. We both kind of look at this, and each kid that walks through our door becomes an additional member of our family. And over time, some people have a difficult time understanding how a youngster can come into a completely new place and become part of a family fairly quickly. The kids are real open and receptive to each other. They're their own support network.
they become our kids while they're here with us. And I mean, that's the great part of it. You're never short a family member. I mean, there's somebody there to play with, to counsel, to work with. It's a warm feeling, it really is. And it's something that's what I guess keeps us going, is that they do become part of us.
We treat them and we care about them, and we do what we need to do to make sure that they're learning and everything that they need, and we try to provide the family setting. However, there isn't a boy in this program that I don't really believe would, not rather be here but home, regardless of what. And this has been our experience for 10 years, that no matter what the home life is like, regardless of what the situation is, home is home. And they still want to be there, and they miss it, and that's something that we understand.
Our intention is not to replace mom and dad. Our intention is not to replace home, what they know as home. Our job is, and our philosophy is to provide the most supportive family system available to them. I'll never be their father, and Ro will never be their mother. But if we can come close to what their ideal of mom and dad would be, I hope that they would look to us as that.
Yeah.
Hello, Rich.
How you doing?
The family of Boys Town extends across America. The organization has a network of alumni who act as a support system for former residents. On his first visit to Boys Town, USA, 1948 alumnus Joe Ortega shares an evening with the Brittenbrock family.
This has been my first opportunity to visit, and talking with all these guys, hey, I'm really pleased with what I see. It's a different kind of an idea that we had back in the 40s and so on. It's not quite like this.
These are one spicy spicy meatball, yeah. Hey. This is a little bit too heavy to pass around. It's about 12 pounds of food here, I think.
I think what they've done is they brought in the mother-father image, which I think children need to emulate or to act like, them and so on. They need a role of some kind. We had ours. Father Flanagan was our role, but there were still 400 of us kids and only one individual who was in charge of the building, or maybe later on we had 2 or 3. But most of it was done by the kids themselves in those days, because they just couldn't get the type of people they have nowadays to work with the youngsters and so on, that are well trained and know what they're doing. Not that it was all bad back in our time, because a lot of people didn't know a lot about child care in those days, especially taking children off the street and bringing them into an area and so on. It was a new idea, and Father Flanagan was he was a dreamer. He felt that this was something that could be done, and he believed in it so strong that he made it happen.
Did you know Father personally?
Yes. Well, I was there when Father Flanagan was there. In fact, he died the year after I graduated, in 1948. That was a big, big family. That's the way Father Flanagan saw it. And we had probably the biggest family in the world, because all of us came from every which direction you can imagine. We had every race involved, we had every religion involved, and we didn't notice that. We were family. We took care of each other, and we watched out for each other and so on, and we still do. We still do.
What planes did you fly in there?
B-52s
What was
and
it like in
135s.
Vietnam?
It was not very nice.
Was it?
I put the guys on ready real quick, like as I walked in. I said, I want to see your rooms. And man, you should have seen these guys scurrying. They're all heading for the rooms to see that the rooms were clean and so on. I guess it's the old sergeant in me, I guess. I started looking to see what was going on. And hey, the rooms look good. And they're very proud. I mean, they seem to be very proud of what they have, and that's important. I think a lot of times when we have children that don't understand the importance of belonging, there's a problem.
Over time, I think what convinces them that our best interest is their best interest is the fruits of the labor. Their behavior is improving, they're feeling better about themselves, their school grades are improving. they're seeing themselves in that successful place and saying, well, Scott and Roe aren't here just because they have, this lifestyle that they enjoy. There's a reason they're here, and we're that reason, because I wouldn't have that kind of success if I didn't have Scott and Roe. And it all kind of ties back into when we talked earlier about the family. They get that sense of family, and they feel that I have the roots, I have a place to belong. Scott and Roe made us part of their family. And I hope every kid that walks through our door can at least walk out of here knowing that they're welcome as part of our family.
They're no different than we were growing up. I mean, our parents were trying to teach us, and we were, fighting them tooth and nail. Same thing goes here, but then after a while they realize, once they start to mature and they see, it takes time though.
It's a real good place for me because, like, when I was younger and stuff, I was really worried, and my folks were that they always told me I was never going to finish high school and stuff. But when I came to Boys Town, they helped me settle down and, do the work I had to do to, accomplish my goal of basically graduating high school. At the time, that was my main goal, because I was behind in credits and everything. And they just helped me. They gave me a lot of support through high school, kept on top of me, made sure I did all my work and everything. I'm going to stay till I finish school probably, so I'll be going out on my own, getting my own place. Because right now I'm at SCC taking automotive, so when I leave I'll probably just start right off in the adult world with an apartment and everything. So I'm looking forward to that. I probably wouldn't have ever graduated high school or gone on to school afterwards if it wasn't for Boys Town and all the support they gave me through school.
At 18, Chuck is making some choices about his future. The independence of adulthood is approaching. Bobby Jean, fellow Boys Town, USA resident, is going through the same difficult transition.
But I'm looking forward to it. I've just had an offer to buy a car, and I'm into a good school, and I'm learning, and I'm just asking my friends about tips, what I need here, what I need there, and just looking at different things, and I feel that I'm getting there, getting ready. We've been taught that you're always a learner, you're never a teacher. You're always learning because the styles are always changing, and you have to keep up with the times. Like nowadays, all of the older styles are coming back in, so we're having to go back and learn how to do the flips and the, as they say, bouffant hairdos. And I like working with people. That's my strong point. I can get along with just about anybody, especially if they're strangers. I don't know a stranger. And I'm a real outgoing person, and I like to talk, so that really helps. And I can make a person feel comfortable. I am a more calm person. I'm easier to get along with. I'm more trusting, which makes I make friends easier now than I used to. I just feel real comfortable now since I've been through the program.
It's kind of scary when you think about it, being on your own. It's, I don't know, I'm kind of nervous about it because I've never been like on my own, I've just graduated high school and all, and I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm just kind of apprehensive, I guess. Not sure what's gonna happen, but I'm pretty sure I'll make it, because they'll help me get set up.
The investments are not short-term gains, they're fairly long-term gains. To have a youngster who has certain needs met, to wind up knowing what a relationship really means, to learn how to effectively maintain a relationship without, even if it's been severed all his life, and he doesn't understand what security is, to develop that sense of security, to see those little things start to bloom. To see academic progress, kids for the first time having success, getting A's and B's and even C's on their report cards for the first time. To see them feel good about themselves. Yeah. That's the biggest pump for me. When I can see a kid smile and say, look what I've accomplished, and not put himself down, and look at things with a real positive outlook on it, and in regard to his efforts, in regard to what he's done, what he's accomplished, regardless how small. we can build on each one of those little successes. Those are the big payoffs.
From talking to staff and seeing what has been done with the children who have come to Boys Town, that they have a real commitment to serving the youngsters that they get. They're also very realistic about saying the kind of youngsters that they cannot serve are the ones that they feel like they may not be able to be successful with, and I appreciate that honesty as well as their commitment. And I can't say that about all the programs that we have in Florida. I think that what we want to do is we want to make our answers and our problems appear to be so complex that we don't have to deal with them.
When Bobby and Chuck graduate from the program, they won't have the 24-hour support and guidance that's become familiar. But before they leave Boys Town's care, they would have developed a plan and set goals for the future. Boys Town helps keep them on track with an aftercare program, financial aid, and alumni support. Boys Town is building families in new areas of the country to meet the growing needs of troubled kids. Plans call for a USA campus here in Los Angeles, in New York, and another phase of expansion will happen with the support of the community around Las Vegas. With the ever-increasing youth problems facing our inner cities, Father Peter is shuttling across America, negotiating, organizing, and developing new boys' towns.
Father Flanagan's dream was to change the way America takes care of her children. That dream we want to fulfill in our day. We want to change the way America takes care of her children. We're going to be building at this site and 16 other places across the United States. Boys Town, the village, will always be the beacon. It'll always be the flagship. But the future of America's children is in our hands. And we can't let them slip through our hands. We've got to love them, we've got to heal them, and we've got to give them hope. I can see us networking together with other child care organizations. We really do want to change the way the federal government looks at children. Remember, kids have no voice and clearly no vote, and so they don't get very much help from a lot of people. We'd like to change that. Oh, I think Father Flanagan would love today's Boys Town. He'd go walking around and have all kinds of good ideas for us to even improve upon what we're doing. I know he would like it. Father Flanagan was an innovator. Father Flanagan was a revolutionary. Father Flanagan changed the way America takes care of her kids.
Because you can't reform a boy behind bars. I never thought these boys needed reforming, but they did need a home, love, care, and education, and every chance to become worthwhile citizens like privileged boys. I've always believed that no boy wanted to be bad. No boy needed reforming if only adult society gave him half a chance. I am proud that thousands of these boys have already been given a new start in Boys Town, and that not one of them has ever disproved the belief that is closest to my heart, that there is no such thing as a bad boy.
Boys Town Building Families is provided in part to the Nebraska ETV network by over 30,000 contributing members of Nebraskans for Public Television.